So hello and welcome to another YouTube video. I'm Pianegonda, and today we're going to talk about your MedTech sustainability mindset. Because I think MedTech has a sustainability mindset issue. So I hear a lot like these phrases, like sustainability is too expensive. Or I hear recycling plastics in MedTech, that will never be possible. Or we're going to get an exemption anyways when they're talking about the regulations. Spoiler alert, you will not get the exemptions, you will get recognized. But back to the topic, the base mindset issue that MedTech has is we have always done it like this. It's like so deeply ingrained into the mindset of MedTech is that it's extremely difficult to get rid of. And I mean, we could just be here and say, yeah, sustainability, that's not important for medical technology. But spoiler alert, there is a very, very strong sustainability trend in medical technology. Like all the big ones, I mean, you can go through like the 100 biggest MedTech companies in the world, and you see that 42 of them have subscribed or committed to the Science-Based Target Initiative. And that means that around $320 billion in turnover have committed to the Science-Based Target Initiative, which means they're going to address scope 1, 2, and 3, meaning that they want to reduce their CO2 footprint and that they are very much committed to sustainability. So if you like it or not, you are going to be affected by this. Even if you're a small and medium company, these guys are your competitors or even your customers. So you will be addressed in this market trend, and you may be safe for a few years, but in the future, sustainability is here to stay. And the question is just, why do these big players commit to reducing their environmental footprint? So mainly they're doing it because of compliance and future compliance reasons. They're doing it because of the public pressure, because it just is a very bad image if you do not. What is less often talked about is that ESG criteria in funding is more and more applied, meaning that if you are hitting your sustainability targets, you will get cheaper loans, and cheaper loans means better financing and better financial position. So there's a financial incentive there, and public tenders, meaning they don't want to lose the business in the Nordics, they don't want to lose the business in the UK or in other countries where they're starting to implement the sustainability requirements in the public tenders. So that is where this is coming from. However, I would like to propose that sustainability could be seen in a different light. It could be seen as long-term market success and innovation. It could be seen as a stronger strategic positioning for the future to future-proof your business. It could be seen as improving your cost structure, the patient outcome, while reducing the environmental footprint. And in short, it would be something like thinking in generations and not in quarters. So maybe it's like this quarters we're investing in sustainability, but in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time, we improve our strategic market position tremendously by doing it today, by doing what's right today. So I'm going to give you 4 steps that are here to fix your sustainability mindset. And we're going to start with, I think, the most important one. So what you should start to do is you should stop using sustainability and ecology as the same word. Just stop doing that. Ecology is ecology, and sustainability has 3 pillars, the triple bottom line. It's the ecology, it's the economy, profitability, and patient outcome. So usually this is also called people, planet, and profit. I like to call it, it's good for the environment, it's good for our pockets, and it's good for the patient. And always, always, always frame sustainability as improvement of cost structure while keeping patient outcome the same and reducing the environmental footprint. So frame it also always in the triple bottom line. Never just say we're going to make it more sustainable, because then people are going to assume you are going to just increase the cost while improving the CO2 footprint by a little. So always preach the triple bottom line, frame it also as cost saving, because people are used to cost saving, and many of the measures that you're already taking to reduce the cost are also reducing your environmental footprint. So you should also frame it as such. Then secondly, integrate the triple bottom line into your strategy. So every business case, every new product proposal should integrate the triple bottom line. How can we do this better for patients? How can we make it better for the environment? And how can we make it more profitable? I don't think that capitalism and environmentalism is really opposed to each other. I think it's a very efficient way of allocating capital, and you should really always also think about how profitable can you make this, because if your company has the right sustainability mindset, you can reinvest that money for better. And I think we're in no other industry in a better position to do better for the world than with the healthcare industry, with the medical device, the pharmaceuticals, and the in vitro diagnostics industry. So the second point here is align your incentives. So if you have a purchasing department that has zero incentive to make your products more sustainable, you will not get more sustainable products. You will just get cheaper products. So I had recently this case where there was like 4% cost increase for a vast CO2 saving. And the purchasing guy was there and said, I really like the product. I think this is a good thing, but I have no incentive to do so. I have zero leeway in terms of cost, meaning I have to choose the cheaper product. I do not have any incentive on purchasing this because I would go straight against my incentives. So you'll have to figure out how you put your sustainability strategy to the road. The rubber needs to hit the road, and the rubber hits the road at the lowest organizational level. You need to have the incentives there at the lowest organizational level in order to bring the horsepower to the street, so to say. Good. Then what you also should think about, you should think about the convenience and the logistical friction points. So I recently did the catheter workshop with Damien. Hi, Damien, if you're watching this is your workshops are great. So if you slide one tube through another, which is basically a catheter, very, very strongly simplified. But if there is like one friction point in there and everything else is free, the tube will stick. Meaning you have to identify those friction points, because like in your supply chain, in the hospital, at your customers, there will be a friction point where it's just extremely inconvenient or logistically difficult to pull the thing off. It's not that the people are fundamentally against doing things better and more sustainable. It's just that it's extremely inconvenient for them. I make an example here. It's like hospitals, like dealing with the waste and reprocessing devices, that is just a lot of time going in there, and they have shortage of skilled labor, meaning that single-use devices, which I do not say that they need to be less sustainable, but sometimes it could be more sustainable to reprocess them, but this isn't done because it's just extremely inconvenient. So you'll have to think extremely well about your use case and where the friction points are and how you can remove them. And you should think in systems. Think your whole supply chain and the whole workflow at your customers, and then you're going to identify these friction points. To the next point, number 3, you should piggyback on innovation. Like, change is pain in MedTech. And I get that, because reapproval and revalidation of your product is extremely costly and extremely difficult to do and takes a lot of time. Therefore, new product development is your strongest ally in making your products better and more sustainable. And if you prove materials or processes in new devices, you can then go ahead and distribute this innovation towards existing products. I would suggest that you introduce a mandatory eco-design process for your R&D. Everybody has to go through that checklist before you can even start to design freeze your device. Always, always, always think about how can we make it better for the patient, better for profit, and of course, better for the planet. And everybody needs to go through that checklist. Then what you should also think about is how can we solve the customer's problem in a smarter way. And what I've brought to you here is like a model of a hybrid device stapler. So if you have a stapler, the one end that is inside your patient is very, very much contaminated, meaning that reprocessing it is a hassle and it is a convenience friction point that the hospital doesn't want to do. And it's also pretty difficult, and it's also quite damaging to the plastics that go in here, meaning it's not as straightforward. So what you can do is have the electronics where a lot of intelligence, a lot of batteries, electronics go in and is very high cost and high environmental footprint. You can just separate those two and solve the customer's problem, because hospitals have the problem that waste is just, number one, a hassle to deal with, and secondly, it's pretty costly, meaning you reduce their waste, you reduce their cost per use, and you solve the problem in a smarter way. So you should not only think, oh, let's just use drop-in solutions, which are more expensive. You should think, how can we make the system, the product, the business model better? And in the end, there are going to be some naysayers in your company, in other companies that just tell you, we've always done it like this and it's never ever going to work and sustainability is too expensive and all these mindset issues manifested in a person. And what you should do there is you should seek to understand them, because there's likely a point at which they believed or they got burned somehow. So always meet we have always done it like this with maybe they know something I don't know. And how to challenge this is not with a why are we even doing it like this, because why is very aggressive as a question and it invites justification. And you do want to justify or let them justify themselves. You want to understand them. And how you should do that is like, how do you know this? It's like, my favorite example is, recycled plastics can never be used in medical device. And then you're like, how do you know this? And it's like, the regulatory requirements. And if you're like, but which regulatory requirements? And then you usually go to, the MDR, it's so strict. And then you're like, okay, which article of the MDR are you talking about? Or in which annex is this? And then they're like, but I don't know. It's not like you should never accept I don't know, or this is how we always done it as an answer to this. You have to dig deep and find the root cause. Even if you have to read those 200-page lawyer sentence documents that we call regulations, you need to go and look for yourself and read the regulations and see where this requirement is really coming from. And then you see that in the NDR, there's just like nothing about recycled materials. It just says it has to be safe and effective. So the problem really is like it's difficult to get recycled plastic safe and effective. That is what the real problem is. And that is addressable with a technical solution. So that is how you should seek to understand. And by that, you have a belief-breaking question that is, how do you know this? And you should break the belief by questioning and never arguing. So never argue. Good. So in summary, number one is you should preach the triple bottom line. Also cost saving this is what management understands the best. It's like, we can save cost and environmental footprint, all for it. You get approval right away. Secondly, you integrate it into the strategy and you should align those incentives, because if the incentives are not aligned, every mission and every vision statement and every sustainability commitment is worthless. You just need to make the rubber hit the road. Then you should piggyback on innovation, meaning you should use the synergy of innovation and sustainability because they go very nicely together. And then in the end, if you have naysayers, you should seek to understand them and then challenge them, break their belief by, how do you know this? And yeah, so this was it for the video. If you are a MedTech company that wants to design your devices for more sustainability, click the link in the description down below. And if you like the video, you should like, comment, and subscribe so YouTube understands that you like content like this and it will show you more of these videos. If you have a question or a request for another video, just let me know in the comments. I will read all the comments and try to respond to them or make videos about topics you like. So thank you very much for watching and have a very good one.